Good evening. Today is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 at 6:02 p.m. We are here for our city council meeting. We'll have the call to order. Can I get the roll call, Ms. Wright?
Mayor Goodman, he's absent. Council President Hinds.
Here.
Vice President Cox.
Hello.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Riccio.
Here.
City Manager Sue Beaudet.
Here.
Attorney Kiersten Ballou.
Here.
City Clerk Latricia Wright. I am here, and all other staff.
Present.
Thank you.
We will have the opening prayer and pledge of allegiance to the flag by Chief Lamar Steele.
Not a surprise. If you will, bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight, Lord. We ask that you watch over us, make us good stewards of your words through our words and actions tonight, Lord. Give us guidance, lead us as we go about our way in the business of the city. Help us with everything we do, Lord. I ask everything in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 1, addition, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda.
So there is one addition to your agenda. It's Resolution 2025-124. I'd recommend we add to the end, and it's the resolution regarding the extension of our crossing guard agreement with Levy County School Board.
That will be J.
Correct.
I move approval of the agenda with the addition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comment from staff or the council? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 2, proclamation, Florida City Week. Mayor Charles Goodman is not here. Not done. Are you gonna? You want me to read it? Sure. Proclamation, Florida City Week by Darfeness, Council President. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. If I can have Ms. Beaudet come up, please. Proclamation. Whereas city. Okay. What about? Proclamation. Whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to and understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas Florida City Week is a very important time to recognize the important role played by the city government in our lives, and Whereas Florida City Week offers an important opportunity to convey to all the citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence government through their civic involvement. Whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now, therefore, I, in lieu of Charles Goodman, Darfeness Hinds, by virtue of authority vested in me as Council City President of Williston, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of October 20 through 26, 2025 as Florida City Week. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the city of Williston to be affixed this 21st day of October, year of our Lord, 2025. City of Williston. All right. At this time, we will have public participation. This is one of two opportunities where you will have a time to speak for 5 minutes on anything that is not on the agenda. Mike, please, sir. Thank you.
My name's Joel Penny. So Mr. Timothy has been posting stuff on Facebook for the past 2 weeks, going around town, showing leaks all around the city. I just want to know, we've had 2 supervisors been in charge, and they've been over here for the past 5 years. And these leaks have been here for about 2, maybe 1 year. Why did it take for one person to blast the city on Facebook to get that fixed? And why did it take that to get it fixed? Can you give me an explanation why? And why are the supervisors, what have they been doing? And now the city's copying Mr. Timothy and going around saying we fixed it on Facebook, making videos. I've had several people come in my neighborhood asking. They want to know why. What are y'all going to do about that?
Can I respond?
You may.
I just want to say that since I've lived in the city, I've seen a lot of water leaks fixed that are not on Mr. Eckert's list, that are water leaks that are being fixed continuously, and yes, new ones pop up all the time, but I just want to make sure that there's no confusion that no water leaks have been fixed.
I've been here my whole life. I've never leaked years.
There's a list, they're working on them. I've seen a lot of them fixed that Mr. Eckert...
I know, but my question is, why are they fixing them now, and why didn't they fix them in the past?
The ones I'm referring to have been fixed in the past over the last couple of years, so I'm not exactly sure which ones are on Mr. Eckart's list, and I'm sure they're also on the city's list, but I just want to state that I've seen a lot of water leaks fixed in the 2+ years, well, 4 now,
I've seen more water leaks fixed this past week than I have been.
We did have a vac truck that we were able to borrow from Stark that helped fix a lot of leaks this past week, and that makes it go much faster. So that's one of the reasons why so many leaks were fixed in the last week, because we actually had access to equipment that made us able to speed up that process.
Okay, so Mr. Donald and Mr. Jonathan have been employed here for over 5 years. Why haven't they took the effort to get it fixed? Why haven't they?
Mr. Penny, I believe we've asked your question.
They fix them constantly, is the answer that you got.
Is there anyone else? Yes.
Hi, my name's Corey Bryan. I live in Morrison, Florida. I'm also the Chamber President this year, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. We got our Adopt a Highway signs up off of 121. The Chamber did all that. It's a great thing. We did our last cleanup, so we're starting another one in November 8th. If anybody's interested in coming out, it's going to be at 8:30 in the morning. We're all going to meet at the Williston sign, the north sign over here, right off of 121, and we go. It's actually 2 miles. And it seems like it's a long ways, but if you split it up and we do it from Heritage Park, we can split from there and go take some of them north and some of them south. It goes a lot quicker. The last time we did it, it took us about an hour. I think we ended up with 160 pounds of trash. So it was a good event. I think everybody enjoyed participating. It made them feel good in the end. And Dina Battle ended up finding like $30 on the side of the road. So it was worth it, right? Anyway, again, it's on November 8th at 8:30. We'd sure like the city to participate if they could with us. Anybody that wants to volunteer and stuff, any of the community members, we're sure like that too. But again, November 8th at 8:30 at the Williston sign at the north end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir, if you'll come to the podium. Good evening. If you, sir, if you'll turn the mic on, hit the button. Oh, there you go.
This is my first time. All right, my name is Doug Bowman, and I host a Christian fellowship group that I call Friday Night Friends. And for the last couple of years, we would see widows, widowers, single people in our church sitting alone. And we came up with an idea, let's invite them. So we started inviting them to our homes, and we would have a meal, we would play games, and we'd have fellowship. Well, the word got around, and as of the first of this year, we were at 15 to 18, and no one had a home that could take care of that many people. So I started asking my friends, and Rosie Conley, she says, you need to speak to Latricia at City Hall. And I said, really? And she said, yes, go talk with her. So I went to talk to her, and I told her my mission or my goal. Jesus said, love thy neighbor, and I added, get to know your neighbor. So what I do is we have couples and then the individuals, and we let the couples sit for the lunch, for the dinner time. They can sit with their friends and talk. After that, I break them all up, put them in different tables, so that they're going to talk to people that they didn't really know or didn't just barely knew. And so I explained that to Latricia, that I looked for a place to meet, and the prices were way out of our range. And she agreed to let us use your community center on the second Friday of every month between 5:30 and 7. And we have gone from 15 to 40 people now.
Oh, wow.
And they have said, every one of them said, tell them how much we appreciate that. And we are gaining more people every month as we say we've got room now. So I just wanted to thank the city and thank Latricia for the opportunity for us to meet people that we wouldn't have had a chance to meet and get to know them. And we are open to anybody. We are a Christian, but anybody that wants, or if you know anybody that's just kind of sitting at home single, 5:30 to 7, the second Friday of every month, we would more than welcome them. And we play games, we have a potluck, we have fellowship. I've asked Chief Rolls to come and give his testimony. He had the most powerful testimony I've ever heard in my life, and I've asked him to come and speak at our meeting. And I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Does your group have a name, Mr. Bowman? Does your group have a name?
Yes, it's Friday Night Friends.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Got it. Thank you. But
And
the church
Latricia knows all about me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else? Okay. If not, we will move to the consent agenda. Council minutes from September 16th and October 14th, 2025 will be on the next agenda. Okay. Removed updates. Staff and board and council updates. We'll start with City Manager Sue Beaudet.
Thank you very much. All right. I just wanted to give a little update on the breakfast that we went to for Central Florida Community Action Agency on last Thursday. It was lovely. There was just a whole room full of people that really appreciated Chief Rolls and everything he did for the Hurricane Expo. I was sitting at a table with his family, which was lovely, and he had lots of law enforcement friends there, so it was really a beautiful, beautiful event. I do want to address Joby Penny's question about the videos. So I believe that as of today, we have 11 videos that we posted through the Public Works and Utilities Department. And, you know, they're not addressing just the water leaks. I mean, we're trying to do, you know, there was information on Block 12, customer service, precautionary boil water notices, an update on Wawa. I mean, our effort here is really, we're just trying to keep people informed. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there, so I'm definitely a fan of these videos. I know that there's some mixed reactions about them, but in general, I think they're doing a lot of good. And I'm hoping that we continue, and, you know, we're going to get other departments involved, police department, fire department. I mean, our hope is to kind of go all over the city and, you know, get the information out. So speaking of misinformation, which there's been a lot of, yesterday I was contacted by TV20 regarding the Hitchcock's, the closing of Hitchcock's, and I reached out to Southeastern Grocers. They agreed to put a press release together for the public, which they did this morning around 10 or 11 o'clock. I just wanted to read part of it for you guys. It says, as part of its Florida growth strategy, Southeastern Grocers has finalized an agreement to acquire Hitchcock's Markets in Alachua, Keystone Heights, and Williston. These stores will be converted to Winn-Dixie and opened in phases beginning in late 2025, further strengthening the grocer's North Florida presence. The new Williston Winn-Dixie, located at 434 East Noble Avenue, is expected to open in early 2025, ahead of the scheduled closing of the nearby Winn-Dixie at 727 West Noble Avenue. Associates from the nearby Williston location will have the opportunity to continue serving customers in the new store. The Alachua and Keystone Heights Winn-Dixie stores are slated to open by summer of 2026. I know that Councilor Jones actually had an interview, I believe, with TV20 this afternoon. But we just want to put to bed the rumors about the fact that it's a Harvey's. It is going to be a Winn-Dixie. They have now, Winn-Dixie going into Hitchcock's. They've now confirmed that. And I believe we actually have a meeting with them tomorrow as well to get more information. Of course, we'll release whatever we can. But we can finally put the rumors to bed. It's going to be a Winn-Dixie. So we're excited. A lot of people are excited about the fact that we'll still have a Winn-Dixie and an Aldi's now. So just trying to squash the rumor. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anything from staff, Mr. Tricia? Or staff? Mr. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to make y'all aware. I think it was y'all have a handout put in front of y'all today. We went up and made a presentation for asking for an appropriations grant to build a new public safety facility with our local representatives McCain and Johnson, myself, Donald Barber, Walt. I don't know where you're hiding at. Here tonight. There he is. Right, hiding in front of me. Went up, and I'd like to thank Donald and Walt and Sue and everybody who helped put all this together to go in and make this presentation today. So, you know, once again, we're trying one more time. I think this is the third or fourth time we went after it, so maybe this is their lucky charm.
Thank you. Any others, Mr. Barber?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to introduce from Florida Gas Utility, Mr. Robert Graves and Miss Megan Santiago. They're here to do a brief presentation for the city.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I guess it's kind of time that made some efforts to earn a grant. This is actually about a successful grant that was applied for. My name is Robert Graves. As Donald mentioned, I'm the Member Services Manager at Florida Gas Utility, or FQ as I'll refer to it as. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. Our CEO, unfortunately, could not make it with me appointment, but I know she would have wanted to be here otherwise. And just very briefly, FGU is a nonprofit joint action agency, kind of akin to a cooperative. We have 26 members, many of which are much like the city of Williston that operate natural gas facilities. One of the services that we provide is grant writing, and that's what we're bringing here tonight. In May of this year, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, or PHMSA, posted a funding opportunity for the Technical Assistance Grant, or TAG. Background, PHMSA is the federal agency that has regulatory oversight over the safe operation of pipelines throughout the country. They delegate that to the state. The purpose of the TAG, and I'll read from this, quoting from their funding opportunity, the purpose of the TAG is to provide funding to local communities for technical assistance related to pipeline safety and to strengthen the depth and quality of public understanding of how pipelines are designed, constructed, and operated. So through close work with your staff, Barber, we drafted an application requesting $100,000 in funding to outreach and education throughout the county. And we also requested the hiring of 811 technicians to create a pilot and interactive training support to enhance the knowledge of stakeholders. Earlier this month, the city was notified of a grant award of $100,000. And I would like to note that that 100 is the fact that for this grant for municipal operators. In closing, it is important to understand that third-party damages are the leading cause of damages across the country. And what has been requested for Mr. Barber's assistance will directly address those concerns. And that's significant to the safety of the citizens of Williston and of Beaudet County. And in closing, again, I want to thank Mr. Barber, but also Ms. Santiago here, who was the lead on these grants. She drafted 16 of them in a period of 6 months, a very small time frame. And she also served as our primary liaison and author of the bill. So we had significant work by her to present to him. Worse. This time, if you're okay with it, we do have a kind of recognized that award.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Barber.
Sorry, that wasn't my only announcement.
Okay.
The other thing was I wanted to mention that FEMA, a representative from FEMA came in today and will be here the next day or so. They are here working with us because the opportunity to be and burst for the storms last year has reopened. They've made an exception for us, so they're sitting there, and I want to thank Vicki and Miss Sue because they're working with her very hard to get questions answered and go through every little document to see how much money the city could get back. So that's another thing that is going on. Also, the last thing I wanted to mention, the manhole repair on South Main and Southwest First Ave began yesterday, and we are hoping that grading will be done by Thursday, and hopefully repaving could be done as soon as next Monday. So I just wanted to mention that that work has begun.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other staff? Attorney Ballou? All right. Anything further from the council? I forgot you. You said after the mayor.
A bunch of us, specifically Darfeness, Debra, myself, Sue, and Miss Latricia, went down to Orlando on Friday of last week for the legislative committee sessions with the Florida League of Cities. And one very interesting topic that was brought up in the Utilities, Public Works, and Environmental Committee meeting that Sue, Miss Beaudet, and I were in was concerns from another city about HOAs that had gone defunct but were responsible for stormwater ponds and drains inside of their HOA. And even though this was not an item that is probably going to get moved forward by the Florida League of Cities, it was definitely food for thought. So basically what happens is an HOA is established and a developer's agreement is made with the city, and they have to maintain the storm drains, and then the HOA becomes defunct, and nobody maintains those storm drains or ponds or anything else. And then when there's a hurricane and a lot of water, or just a average Monday in Florida, the ponds overflow. And the issue that was raised was who is responsible for those storm drains at that time. So anyway, Public Works Director from Jacksonville Beach, I believe, basically said what the best thing we can do is make sure that in our developer's agreement that HOAs may not become defunct, that is part of our developer's agreement. So I just wanted to bring that up as a thought exercise and maybe something that we should look into in the future so that we don't absorb the cost of maintaining these storm ponds and the drains and the negative impacts of them not being maintained. Food for thought.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else on the council?
I just want to give a good shout out to Roger Madison. Roger has been working on the pickleball courts and pretty much got them just about done. But I know he's been working hard, getting the paint, all that good stuff to get that done. So the citizens will be happy that we got that.
Anyone else from the council? All right. If not, we will have Mr. McMillan. Mike, please, sir. I don't know why they keep turning it off.
You can just leave it on. It's
Don't
fine.
just leave it on.
I'm representing the CRA tonight with our, I guess someone asked me to come back and talk about all the projects we're working on. Maybe y'all didn't, I don't know. But they told me to come talk. So I just want to run down what we've been doing at our meetings. Second Monday, 5:30. We have approved the service dog statute for the Veterans Park. The last part of the puzzle, and it should be delivered coming up here by the end of the year. So we approved $18,000 for that. It's about a 4 foot long. We'll also show you. This came from the Pensacola Veterans Memorial, and we purchased it from the same woman that designed it. She owns the mold. She's in New Mexico.
Where are you going to put it?
Fine tuning it. I'm trying to keep the park so symmetrical left and right. It'll probably be straight on towards Northwest Main. Put it on the left or right side, it kind of becomes unbalanced, but we haven't fine tuned that part yet. That was pretty
So in the pavilion lot is what you're saying.
in the Veterans Park.
Okay, in the Veterans
On
Park
the block,
itself.
on the bridge.
Got it.
Yeah. The parking lot, everyone sees Block 12 parking lot is cruising along. It should be done in February of next year. Donald stole my manic manhole at the police station, but he brought that to us as a possible CRA project, and it falls under safety, traffic control. It's in our district, paving. So we voted on it, and we approved $34,000 to have that manhole fixed. I guess, as everyone knows, the CRA funds are not city funds. They are the tax increment financing that we're getting back from the county. The marquee sign for City Hall has been approved. That's $39,000 we approved for that. The permit should be being pulled any minute to put it out in linear heritage park. To me, it's always going to be linear park. Obviously, it'll all be wired control or wirelessly controlled from inside. Obviously, our goal is to put when the council meetings are, when the voting is. There's a hurricane coming. Where the sandbags are. Anything that y'all want to put on there. The awning across the street that got run into by the vehicle. I'm not going to believe this part, but we received $10,000 from the insurance claim. It's going to cost right now about $83,000 to fix.
Well, somebody that they did not believe.
So we approved to go out to bid. Right, we have a price, but it was outside of our purview, so we have to go out to bid for it. So we're currently in that process. But yeah, we were just shell shocked at that. I told them to hammer the rest of them; they all look the same.
I said just take down the bent ones. That's what I did.
Sidewalks. You would not believe how hard it is to make an easy word like, well, let's just replace and add sidewalks. How difficult that is to get done. Studies and studies and studies and studies. So we've backed it down now to if there's broken sidewalks in our district, how much is it going to cost? And let's get those fixed. Safety, obviously. Pedestrian traffic falls under our purview. What I brought tonight was one of the plaques we talked about last time I was here. Fireman's Park. How are you doing, my bid? This is what we created for Fireman's Park. The plaque states that the monies, again, came from where the monies came from the TIF funds, a little bit of history about it, and we want to do that for all the projects we've got. The parking lot, the horse down the street, got the name of the horse right now.
Foolish pleasure.
Foolish Pleasure, we want to put a plaque there. All the projects we've got going or have finished are going to be plaques.
What is that cost?
You got me. I was told not to ask any more questions like that until the parking lot was done.
You got it.
Probably the first of the year.
It needs a pedestal or something to put it on, right?
We're not that far yet. I was happy to get this. Took a year and a half, so. There's a little lake that shows up down the street here in front of the pavilion. You can't park, you can't walk through the pavilion. An error in the pavement that was done years ago. And we are working with Wright Pierce, done the surveying, doing the engineering. He's going to put in a French drain system that's going to get that water out of there. It's not good for the asphalt for it to sit there for weeks at a time. And obviously it's not good for pedestrians and whatnot, so it fell under us. So those are the 7 or 8 projects that we've got going. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question. Maybe this is a question for Walt. Would bollards of some sort along that stretch of buildings be helpful? I just hate the idea of us spending, for you guys, spending
$83,000 to fix it, only to have the next tractor trailer that swings wide hit it again. Is there anything that we should be looking into from a preventative perspective for future traffic mishaps?
That would be in the DOT right away, so we'd have to go with DOT on that, and we would have to make sure that we're not installing something in the clear zone that becomes a safety hazard also. So that would have to be looked at, and it would be DOT approval to do that. Right now, those columns are set back. I do believe they're outside for an urban area, the clear zone, but to protect them, we'd have to make sure that we're not introducing something that could be deadly. So we'll have to be looking at that.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of cities that have a lot of, some of them have like concrete planters that go down, which is something that actually I've been thinking about. Would be nice to make pedestrians feel like they're a little bit removed from the busy traffic, but I don't know if that would, how difficult that is with Florida Department of Transportation.
Yeah, we'd have to make inquiries on that. That's something they want to do. We would need to have their
part of that 83,000, I just thought about it when you mentioned that. There's tens of thousands, I don't know the exact number, for blocking off the DOT roads safety-wise, going to one lane. It's an immense amount of money. We're going to. You got to follow the rules.
Just gave us 300 cones up there that still say FDOT on it. Maybe they would allow us to. Of course, I know they'd have to coordinate where they go.
There's a whole permit thing.
Yeah.
Who's where are you getting the platform at for the statue? The city.
Ralph Curry, Parks Roads. He's fixing a solution right now.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank you.
Okay. New business. Open public hearing. Attorney Kiersten.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the second reading of Ordinance 2025-756, an ordinance of the City Council for the City of Williston, Florida, amending Sections 2.02 and 4.02 of the City Charter and Chapter 20 of the Code of Ordinances to change the dates of city elections, to change terms of office necessitated by such change in the election dates, providing authorization for City Clerk to delegate election tasks and responsibilities to the Levy County Supervisor of Elections, amending the time frame for special elections in certain instances, amending qualifying procedures pursuant to Florida law, amending procedures regarding challenges, protests, and absentee ballots to comply with Florida law, and providing an effective date. So again, this is second reading, and just to clarify, I know that we've been talking about a lot of election changes. This is just the changes that are required in order for us to be able to enter into that agreement that we discussed with the Levy County Supervisor of Elections. The other ordinance regarding terms and term limits has been drafted. We're shopping it around, and it'll be on your next agenda for first reading. So happy to answer any questions on this one.
Sure.
We were talking about the legislative committees that we went to. I'm in the intergovernmental coordination and elections and emergency management. There's one other thing I can't remember exactly. In the elections area, there has been a state law, not law yet, it's just a bill that has been introduced to move all the elections to the general election. I'm sure you're aware of that. Which this would totally circumvent. Preempt is the right word. As this preempts what we currently have. Because it says change the gateway, no matter what the charter says. But I think that's interesting. I don't know if we should wait or go ahead with it and hope we don't have to do it again.
One of the things that I will say about, and definitely there's a lot of pushback from the local government community of that kind of bill.
And the supervisor of elections.
And the supervisor of elections, of course. that is a concept that's been introduced a couple of times and is obviously not yet passed. That doesn't mean that it won't pass this time. But I'm not sure. I guess it's up to you all. If the bill doesn't go through, then no changes would be needed whether you make this change or not. If the bill does go through, changes will be needed whether you make this change or not.
And as we know, Tammy Jones does not want us to be on the general election. That's the one she wants to do. She moves it. And this bill says that it has to be on that particular day. And of course, everybody in my committee has 40 reasons why not to put it on that day. The same ones Tammy's told us about.
Right.
That our information gets lost in any huge bill and any huge ballot.
Just go for
Hopefully
it.
it won't pass.
Let's just go for it.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring that up there.
We'll make the change if it happens.
I have a question. Reading through it, it seems like a lot of duties or details have been removed from our city clerk. Almost feels like we really don't have a say in what goes on with the election, even though it says the city clerk gets to delegate responsibility. But a lot of the things that we've taken out and removed, it just seems as though we're giving over our rights related to what's going on with the city and the election.
So there are a couple of things. One of the things to keep in mind is that every time that you see the language of at the request of the city clerk or as designated by the city clerk, we put those provisions in there because your charter requires your clerk to be your supervisor of elections. So there's no way for us to circumvent that without a charter change, except to allow for your clerk to choose, as she wishes, to delegate that authority to the Levy County Supervisor of Elections, which, as far as my understanding right now, Latricia is on board with. She wouldn't always have to be on board. She can change her mind. There are some other changes in here, and I know that we talked about this last time, that have to do with state law changes, that we took out certain provisions. So, like, for instance, challenges and protests. The changes that were made to that section were to bring us into compliance with state law and the current election code. So there are some changes to the procedures that do take a little bit out of the city clerk's hands and the supervisor of elections' hands, but that is because we just changed it in order to be in compliance with current Florida code. We hadn't updated this code in a while.
Okay. Does that also go for the canvassing board? Because it looks like the supervisor of election now has control over that as well as the city clerk.
Yeah, that's part of that was part of the back and forth of whether or not we wanted to enter into the agreement with the Levy County Supervisor of Elections in the first place, because that is one of the things that she would want to have authority over in order for everything to sort of right.
So gotta have this open there.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, this is very trial. As Jones presented it, we do this for a year and see how it works.
Revisit.
Yeah, the agreement, the contract that we would sign if we pass this, is for 1 year. And so because the ordinance is written the way that it's written, if we enter into it again, then Latricia has the ability to delegate. Otherwise, that'll be that.
And I think Ms. Jones also had said that the other cities were on board with it.
I think it's every city, right? Every single city.
Yeah.
Not all of them had changed to the date that we are on. I think there were 2 that were still left out. They may all be decided to do it now. But I think there were at least 2 that did not come to the April date. There's only 1 now. They maintain their independent date.
Right.
And bottom line, it all came down to making it a little easier for Latricia.
I was finally concerned.
Maybe the qualification part is the hardest part in my book. And that's still, she's got that part. You know, that and all the reporting is to me the hardest part.
Any other conversation from public or council? Seeing none.
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of ordinance 2025-756.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. We'll close the public hearing at this time. So at this time, we'll have a presentation by the Doppler system. Ms. Elena. I'm not going to do your last name.
Is this on?
Yes, it is.
So good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. My name's Elena Napolitano, Director of Sales at Doppler. I initially met with Mr. Donald and some others from the Utilities and Works Department back in April when Doppler initiated a contract with SSBA. And so since then, we've scoped out a 5-year agreement with the Doppler system. So today I've planned this kind of brief overview presentation of what we have to offer included in that proposal. And then obviously we'll open up to questions you have on your end as well. Okay, slide.
Next slide. Just let me know when you want me to go to the next slide,
I
please.
was controlling it at first. Awesome. Yeah, next slide. So up on the screen here we have, there's going to be a lot of different quotes from different customers. I won't read through all of those specifically, but that top image there does a good job of describing what a response management system is. So that's what Doppler is, response management system. You'll see Doppler RMS if you need another acronym to remember. But we'll usually describe it in those 4 main components. So one, we're taking in information about what's going on. Biggest ones usually calls in from residents. So Doppler has our own call centers on our end. We take customer calls. They're strategically spread throughout the country. We only take calls for utilities and public works. We're not going to take calls from Walmart and doctor's office. We're free to take those types of calls. On top of that information from those calls, we're also taking in medical arms, utility locates, any other information, email, text, things like that in the system. From there, we're aggregating that information and we're making sense of it or triaging it and determining, hey, all these calls coming in about, say, a power outage. We're going to group those together so we're not blowing up the on-call staff with every single resident that comes and calls in about the same outage. We're helping discern criticality, we're helping filter out things in our service area, and then helping dispatch that information to the groups efficiently. That engaged piece spans throughout the bottom. We're automatically documenting this information as it happens, improving that internal communication, so that externally with residents, we're helping provide full communication. So, a lot of information there. But the idea is we're taking in information that's coming in, making sense of it, dispatching out the necessary information, and then documenting. So the system itself is meant for day-to-day use. So it doesn't just need to be used during a bigger event, like a hurricane, a power outage, or a break. But it does especially shine in those situations. So this is what's called our event detection tool. It's kind of hard to see here. But the idea is when residents are calling in about an issue, say one person calls in, they have dyslexia. Someone else has, maybe they see water leaking in the street, someone has low pressure. The system's smart enough to say, hey, all these are indicative of possibly a water leak. You might have a water leak in this area. Same thing with power outage. Okay, these residents are calling in about this specific area. They don't have power. You you might have a power outage in this area. And so from there, we can kick off this tool so that when the resident picks up the phone to call in, they hear something along the lines of, thank you for calling City of Williston. We're aware of the power outage in this area, working on resolving the issue. Press 1 to speak to someone, press 2 to receive updates on the scene. So as those calls come in, you can see internally on a keypad where those calls are coming in from. You get that information internally, but your phones aren't being pulled out. Next slide. So there's that IVR the resident will hear when they call in. Next slide. And it ends up being over 90% of people who end up on that can significantly reduce, even if you're using it during daytime hours, say we're not taking the phone spend or taking over the phone spend, you can still help mitigate a lot of those calls coming in and keep residents informed of the status of the updates. So at any point you would push out, hey, we're aware of the power outage, here's an ETR or an ETA, and those residents who called in up to that point will get those notifications. What's special about this is that it's a lot more reactive. So a lot of mass notification systems out there, you need to have everyone opted into the system. And so the problem is a lot of residents don't end up opting in or don't have updated contact info. This, they don't need to do that. It's just going off of everyone who calls in and see who's off of that. Next slide, please. So obviously this is helpful during those bigger events, right? The hurricanes, the main break, power outages. It's helpful for the one-off issues that residents will report as well. So a lot of, the company started in 2017, we have over 250 customers now. So over time we've had a lot of requests for customers, and we've done apps for people before. That was a popular thing for a while. We've stopped doing that just because the usage rate is so low. The problem with the app is that you have to get residents to download it. It's only as good as the number of residents who have actually using it. And so in this case, it feels like the resident's using an app, but the key is the resident doesn't need to know this exists to use it. So they'd call in the main line they're used to calling into. Might be us taking the phone call after hours, maybe call during the day. But after they have that conversation with the call taker, they're going to say, hey, thank you, we're going to send you this text message to your phone where you can see updates, please upload a photo, add a note. And so when the resident hangs up the phone, they already have this text message there waiting for them. They press on the text link and they get access to that portal. There's no Doppler logos on there. You can have the little logo at the top. It'll prompt them to add photos, add notes, and updates. So obviously the resident uses the portal is helpful from a customer service perspective, but arguably it ends up being more helpful on the operations side, because now when they roll trucks out to something, they have objective information about what's going on. Next slide, please. So it ends up being almost 60% of people who are actually updating that additional information, adding those photos, adding those notes. That's a common question we'll get is like, all right, how many people are actually doing this? Obviously, it's never going to be 100%, but with this tool, you end up getting a lot more of that. Next slide, please. So here we have some examples of photos that have come into our live customers. So on like the electric fiber side, obviously we'll get a lot of photos in where maybe you listen to the phone call and the customer says, hey, there's a power line down somewhere, but they send in a picture and it's a common line, right? Not everyone knows the difference. You can't expect them to. People will call in and say, hey, there's a big tree down somewhere, but it's a small branch or vice versa. And so having that information, sometimes it's eliminating a truck roll in the first place, or maybe something comes in after hours, see the picture and say, hey, this is April morning. Sometimes it's just helping assess priority too, especially during those bigger storms. The other benefit of this is that we have the pinpoint location of where these photos were taken, and so we can help when we're dispatching crews out directly to the correct location as well. Next slide, please. Same with water, wastewater side. So those 5 photos on the left here, every one of those situations when the resident called in, if if you listen to the call, they said there was a main break, and they used that terminology. When in reality, sometimes it could be a main break, it could be high consumption, or it could be a lifting issue, an SSO, a number of different things. And so, again, you can't expect the resident to necessarily know that ahead of time, but those photos can end up helping the staff determine that. The two photos on the right there, they were both reported as leaks at the meter. The bottom one's a lot more urgent than the other. So that's the type of information that you're not necessarily getting on the phone. You can get through these photos. So it sounds silly. It's like, great, now you get a photo, but a lot of the cost savings from this really does come from getting these photos too. Next slide, please. First of all, so, there we go. Scroll down one more. Perfect, thank you. So up until now, we talked about the information coming in, right? We're taking in a lot of information from what's going on. What's key about Doppler, the software itself, is that we're making sense of that information and triaging it. So we have in-house built AI machine learning that's helping do that, kind of acting as a fail-safe, making sure things don't fall through the cracks, making sure people aren't dispatched for non-urgent after hours. And so that's what that visual kind of represented. Hey, there's all these different sources of information coming in. A lot of people hear AI these days and they think of like ChatGPT and typing in a question and it comes up with an answer and sometimes it's wrong. Obviously that wouldn't work in this scenario. That's generative AI. This is a completely different type. The way this works is it's completely grounded in accuracy. And so from the years we've had these hundreds of customers with information coming in, learning off of that. And so when information comes in from a customer or whatever those inputs are, all it's doing is assigning a probability to what something could be. If it's under 98% probability, it's going for something for a live review. So we're never going to take any guesses there. But this is a big reason of why it's helping things not fall through the cracks. It's making sure it gets to every single piece. It's not someone sifting through that information slowly. Next slide, please. So that third piece, when it comes to dispatching, the idea is that we're making it as simple as possible for the crew members to get that information. A lot of times we'll talk to utilities, public works departments, and it's kind of a game of telephone, where someone calls in, they're communicating information, then they're documenting it separately, and things, again, fall through the cracks. And so this way, when a customer calls in, where they're talking to us on our end, where they're talking to you guys during the day, when the crew member is getting dispatched, they're getting texted and called with the information. If they want to get called first or texted first, that's all configurable, obviously. But what they get is very streamlined. They press a button or two, and they get the photos of what's going on. They get the details of the call. If they need to call the customer back, it'll mask their cell phone numbers so that the customer is directed to that main line again when they have another issue. This same technology can be used for safety check-ins for crews, if you'd like. But the big benefit here is that it's automatically documenting the steps. So the crew member on their end, they can organically respond to the issue. They're not having to worry about documenting all these things and playing this game of phone tag. But now at this point, we already have all the information about the issue. We have photos, we have timestamps when these things happen. And so, next slide, please. There's a lot of different reports we can get from that information. So this is where that documentation piece comes into play. There's a lot of great systems out there for documentation, but the problem is they're only as good as the information you're putting into it. The difference with this is that we're automatically a part of this process up until now. And so we automatically have all this information. So the reports we can generate from them are a lot more comprehensive, a lot more accurate. So these heat maps are popular. It's not the only report you can get. A lot of those reports are configurable. But the idea here is you can go in, you can sort by date, sort by type of issue, and see, hey, where are we spending the most overtime? What areas might need maintenance? Things like that. Next slide, please. Alright, so I talked a little bit about our more proactive version of mass notifications earlier for when during an event. Doppler notifies a little more reactive. And so the way this works is you can select a boundary on a map, you can upload a shapefile, you can select a list of people, you're designating who you're sending those notifications out to. Type a message into a box, hit send, that can send out to those residents via call, text, or email. And so people will use this for oil advisories, for plant maintenance, for all kinds of things. But what's nice is that it's automatic. Realistically, yeah, you can send messages out through email. Not many people use that nowadays. But the system will automatically detect whether someone's phone number is a landline or a cell phone. And so usually people have it set up, they'll type the message in, and automatically send the text to a mobile phone, call to a landline, and so they can reach a lot more residents that way too. We also have two-way communication enabled. This becomes helpful when, you send out a message, commonly like on the water side. They'll say, hey, maintenance has been completed, services restored, if you're having any issues, please reply. Then residents can reply back. Every single reply back will be documented, but if there's residents that say, hey, I still don't have water, again, because we're triaging all the information coming in, we can automatically dispatch that right out to the crew that's still on scene. So a lot of times we just forget to turn a valve back on or something. And so we can make sure everyone's actually restored without all the back and forth. Again, no time, no money. Next slide, please. And to wrap up here, so I threw in one case study at the end of one of our customers in Kentucky, but again, there were quotes throughout the slideshow as well. These guys have been a customer for many years. Before we started working with them, they didn't have any visibility into the after-hours calls they were getting. Pretty visible for utilities. They didn't have a lot of documentation of those. Their daytime staff, day-to-day, things would work smoothly, but when there was a bigger event, as many hurricanes in Kentucky, but when an outage happened, they would get overwhelmed with those calls. And so that's where we stepped in. Their solution that they are still using with us is very similar to the one that we're proposing. Doppler RMS, the solution we just described, with event detection and then call answering. So that's what we're proposing in that contract. We would be taking calls after hours and then have that option for daytime spillover. So typically, City Hall would still be taking calls, but if needed, if there was a bigger storm that came through, they can be switched over to us so that no residents ever waiting on them. That's all I have. So I'll open up to questions if you all have any.
First question.
Yeah.
Cost.
Yeah. Is that on the next slide? There's a proposal in there. Next slide. One more. Okay. So it's just I don't know off the top of my head.
It was just around, after all said and done, it was around 55,000. The idea was to split it up if the council wished. In this current year's budget, we proposed additional for professional services in electric, in fiber, in water, in collections, and even in roads and facilities. So what we would do is we would code that out if the council wanted to move forward around 5,000 to 6,000 per each of those funds, and would literally split it up amongst all of them evenly, since they would all be represented by the program.
Okay, so in your thing, there's in your proposal, there's 3 cities that it one averaged, I think, about 86,000 customers, another one 81,000, and the one in Kentucky was about 13 to 14,000. We're only 3,400 people.
Yeah.
For us, we have something it's not similar, but it's text.gov, which I still think we can do a better job of getting more people done on it. But for a large city, I can see this working for them. I just don't see that it can work for us, for the price, especially when our accountant said we don't need to be spending any more money than what we have to.
So yeah, a lot of the quotes on there are from bigger cities. They're obviously bigger cities, but our smallest customer serves under 200. I would argue the smaller utilities we work with, especially on the electric side, are the ones that get a lot more value for what they're putting in. I don't know if you're familiar with the accounting management system on the electric side, but utilities will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on those, and it's not something that a lot of smaller mid-sized utilities can afford. So that's why we're honestly bigger in, we have these big customers that we like to show off. If I'm being honest, but these smaller mid-sized utilities are the ones that we have more of, one, and then two, they're getting a lot more out of it, because a lot of these places, I mean, I know you're working towards getting AMI, but it's not quite there yet. That's something where we can grow with. So we're unique in that we don't need those other pieces of technology to operate. And so you can start using us now. If you get AMI in the future, you can add that on. But if you were looking at something with similar functionality this size of utility would realistically cost a lot more. Text.my.gov specifically, most of that overlaps with Notify. That's standalone. So if cost is obviously a factor, which it is, we can always piece out Notify and you can lower the rest of the system too to start off.
So we've already paid for one system. I think we have a contract with them. Not for the money, and not with our accountant saying we don't need to spend anything extra. So for me, I can't support it.
I tend to agree. I did have a couple of other questions. I don't know whether they're relevant, but you do the dispatch.
Yep.
You choose who to dispatch of our people.
Yep, the dispatch is automated, so you can trigger it internally.
So as the call changes, we have to enter who's on call or something.
Yeah, so usually it's a rotation, so it would automatically rotate the on-call schedule. If you needed to change it, you can go, it's like 3 clicks to do it, or you have a designated customer support that you can reach out to do.
Because I could see us changing it often. If we could. And who enters the updates to the citizens?
So
how are those entered?
Yeah, usually it's up to you. Usually someone from the utility is pushing those out.
Okay.
You can have canned messages in there if you want. Everyone kind of has a different preference there.
So it would still take an employee to put in the updates as we went.
Yeah, unless you want to have canned messages in there that went out.
Yeah. I think it's better if we do. It's just having to still have someone to do that. But we'll probably get more relevant information. And my other question is cost.
Yeah, so the cost, I believe, just under $50,000 per year for 5 years. If you were to take out Notify, that massive aging tool, it'd be closer to $40K a year. I think spillover cost was a couple grand, so if you wanted to start without spillover, you can piece that out too.
Can somebody remind me when our text.my.gov contract expires? I love the concept of this. I unfortunately, because we're already in a contract with another company, I agree that I can't quite justify the cost of it, but I do think this is great information to have to possibly revisit when our contract with text.my.gov comes up, so that we could look at this as an alternative if we're unhappy with text.my.gov and how it's working. I like the idea of the interactive side of it. Somebody who has we've all had to call about power outages, and it's really nice when you do get the continuous updates. We're already under contractual obligations. Love the idea.
I believe it's 3 years, but I'm not certain.
And I would say that that's probably one of the downfalls of most systems is that we have to have somebody to put in the updates. So somebody has to be here, or somewhere. They don't have to be here, but they have to be in the know in order to enter accurate information. I'm not real sure how many people are on Text.gov that are actually getting information. Did we do the boil water notice on Text.gov?
Yes, ma'am. It just depends on the area that we select. It just depends on the area. So we only notify the people in that area.
Right. But did we use it for that this time?
Yes. Yes, we use it all the time.
I mean, I know you still put things on doors, though.
Yes.
So
Yes.
You did that.
We're still required to.
Do you have to be signed up for it?
I'm sorry?
Do you have to be signed up for it?
Yes, it's you have to opt in for it.
And does it distinguish between text, landline?
No, it's straight up. It's text
only text. So this system would be able to get information to people who do not have cell phones, which is a dwindling number of people, but still.
When you sign up with a cell phone, you have to go
Yes,
to the
you have to
website
have a cell
and sign
phone.
up.
It's obviously
right,
text.
but the Doppler system, if people entered a landline, then it automatically calls.
It does, but this other one doesn't. But it doesn't need to detect because you sign up,
Right.
give them the number you want to call. And it
And,
texts.
and if your address is correct, you
Right.
get the notification.
So during the day when the calls are coming into the city, is this system tracking those calls as well?
Yeah. So whoever's taking the calls internally would have dispatch assist, so automatically track those calls. Most people use that to automatically dispatch those calls, use the software as well, but either way, it's not.
So there's somebody that's on the line when they call the
So
city?
they would have an interface in front of them that they're able to put in, like, the description of what's going on, first name, phone number, that can be pushed to other systems if you needed to.
So they would still have the internet. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say my understanding from the meetings we had, the main value here wasn't necessarily customer notifications. It was more like the call taking documentation piece of it. So yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Any other comments? Any thoughts or comments from?
We've got supervisors sitting here. What did they think about it? We got two. And a fiber person too. So.
I would like to add that I believe this is actually a good idea because the state Clerk or Cody, whoever's on call or whoever's holding the phone, if it is a mass outage, they are not able to answer the phone while still doing the work. So then it's directed to my phone, and I'm involved and have to be involved. And nothing is getting documented as far as all these calls while I'm at the house during work. So having the documentation behind this and answering the people on time is actually
Mr. Barber.
So just a little history. Doppler did not approach the city of Williston. They have a big agreement with FMEA and FMPA. So FMPA, Florida Municipal Power Association, is the one that brought Doppler to all of their members, all 33 members in the state of Florida. They made a big presentation to all those members, and one of the main pieces that the staff was looking at was we literally have someone in here for FEMA here for today and the next 2 days, because during the hurricanes, we did not capture everything that FEMA wanted. So staff is going in there as they're being called in, answering what questions we can, seeing if we have anything of notes. This eliminates that from needing to be done from our side of the house if we were to have a storm event and have to report all those details to FEMA. The other element of it was when we talk about water and infrastructure and sewer and gas and all those things, and we go for all these grants like we have recently, a lot of the data that Florida Department of Environmental Protection, the Water Management District, Resiliency Florida, and all these other places are asking, and Walt can verify this, is they're asking for documentation. I mean, they come back when we submit it, and they come and say, okay, well, we have questions. And they ask questions specific to these events. How many people called in about this? How many people were related to this? How many leaks did you have on this line? And that is relevant information to go back to those grant programs and say, okay, here's the data you requested. We have no way of capturing that information. We don't even have a system built to capture that information. Edmunds is about creating work orders. It creates that. But there's no aggregate to actually pull those by category. It has to do with an account. And so that is one of the main reasons why FMPA is recommending this to their members to address some of those needs and go after that essential funding. And I also want to remind, I know that there's been questions about finance. We all knew about this last year. As we mentioned, we've been talking about this through April. We built into the budget that the council approved. I mean, it's obviously your option, but we did build in. So if you were to consult Stephen, he would say that that was built into those professional service budgets to split that up amongst the enterprise funds. So that's to the question of financing. And then if the issue is the Text.my.gov, they're compartmentalized at Doppler. So they can take out any piece, do as little, do nothing, or do as much as the council would like us to go forward with. Last piece is there's going to be questions about cost. I know our attorney will say, did you go out for bid? They have a sole source letter that they can provide. And on top of that, this is a contract through an already contracted service that we have through FMPA. So to answer those questions when they come up.
I have a question for you. How much is this a year? Okay, I thought earlier it was higher.
It's 55. 55
Is Mr. Bloom online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sir. So, what's your input on this cost-wise dollars? What's it going to impact us in everything?
So, as Mr. Barber said, and this is a great question, this is going to be something you obviously will have to address with each of these agenda items. If he has it in the budget, and he's not going to exceed his budget for those lines, then from a financial standpoint, I'm fine. I don't, I'm not going to be, policing, what he puts in there. If it's in the budget, and I know we've talked about this with professional services, from a financial perspective, we're fine.
Sounds like this has already been vetted with FMP and other acronyms. FMPA. But I still would like to know if there's someone out there who does comparably the same thing and what the cost would be for that. But also, I think it'd be more work to have this system over here that we have to input stuff into, and then this system over here that we have to input stuff into, just to get a total of one thing going on. So I think we need to take that into consideration as well, because now we have two different systems that we have to try to manage when there's an issue that's going on. So for me, because we are already currently under contract, I would suggest that we wait, at least to get more information from Mr. Barber related to whether or not we can find a more cost-efficient way, but still get the same type of result that offers. Miss Alexa.
I would just like to say that is 2025. Williston is like in 1960. We need to come up to this level. People have phones. They have all this stuff. Technology is wonderful. And if it's going to keep people informed so that somebody here doesn't have to take 82 calls about a tree down or something else that's not necessary and this can streamline the process, then we should do it, especially when we've already heard from the finance person to say that we have money and all these people have already come up with a plan on how to pay for it. And that's all I have to say is that it's 2025 and we need to get with it.
Thank you, Alexa. But it doesn't streamline it because she just said that we still have to input information into the system. So as much as technology there is, we still have to do footwork behind it. And I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but what I'm saying is we also still need to be diligent about the amount of money that we're spending finances. If there is nobody else that's comparable and they're the best option out there and we decide to go with them, absolutely. I have no issue with that, whether it's 2025 or 2020. So I just think we need to just make sure that we are dotting our I's, crossing our T's when it comes to finances related to just doing Miss Meredith.
With this, is the vision that this would eventually phase out Text My Gov and potentially Edmunds, or would they be required, would each of those items, would we have to have Edmunds, Text My Gov, and Doppler to cover all of our bases?
It's a good question. Text My Gov, yes, we would phase that out after our contract ended. The Edmunds is a totally different platform. That's our billing, that's our customer account information. And I wanted to just address briefly the idea about inputting information. That question was related specifically to the alerts that the city puts out. So like us texting en masse or calling en masse someone to give them information. Someone would have to type in the script and that script would be delivered. We don't need to put in information. The system gathers information for us. It compiles it so that staff does not have to compile the information. It brings in, and as she mentioned, through AI and people who live in the United States, take phone calls, and it triages all the data that comes in from, let's say, 80 calls, classifies them, takes the pictures that they provide, so it's actually building the information for us. It's not something that we have to actively do. It stops the crew from saying, I can fix that reclosure, or I can put back in that jack, but instead I'm going to go to my logbook and document what I did right before I popped the power on, or I get the power popped on and then I spend the next 30 minutes sitting at the truck on the scene documenting all the things that I've done, because the system will do that on their behalf. And so it's kind of the opposite, if that's the impression that we gave you, and I apologize for that.
But that's not what was said.
How does this...
What she said was that if somebody makes a phone call and calls up here, they will have the dashboard in front of them, and as they're telling the person what's going on, they have to be inputting that information into the system. So it's not about texting people a response. They still have to gather the information, put the information in, and then the computer at that point keeps track of the things. Is that
yes, ma'am? So that's referring to what we call not being a spillover. So that's talking about your normal business hours. We already take that information.
Okay.
And instead of putting it in Edmunds to just create a work order, we would put it in their system, which would already be integrated to create that automatically with Edmunds. So it wouldn't be doing it twice. But it also puts it in a format that we can print out reports and data for the future. So they have the software to understand as information's put in and boxes are checked and pictures are added, that it does its work in categorizing what enterprise, what utility, and what is it major, is it severe, is it not? It does all that automatically just with the data that comes in from the customer. Right now what the process would be is the girls at the front would get that same information, they'd create a work order, it would come sit in the back, it would get signed in after it was printed, it would then go to a person that's an administrative assistant who would possibly talk to a supervisor as to what do you want us to do and who do you want us to deploy, and then we would pick out staff that we know is available, and so it streamlines it. It gets your reactionary time down considerably during the day when we take the call, and then after hours they would take the call, as opposed to flooding dispatch with those calls, because now they're calling the on-call person, and they're usually asking the on-call person, can we patch you in? Because we don't want to call them off of our personal numbers. So then the dispatch patches you in, and that line is hung up. So it's removing some of those responsibilities from emergency dispatch that we could handle internally with the system and still collect that data. And she can correct me if I've said anything wrong. But I believe that's what was proposed to us. And as I mentioned, the only reason why we even know about it is because FMPA did a big, huge deal with Doppler for all of their systems and gave them a massive price discount to see if whether or not these systems could try it out in an affordable manner. And I believe that that contract can be as short or as long as we desire it to be. There's not, she could say we could do a 5-year, she could say we could do a 1-year. She has the ability to determine what the city feels is in its best interest.
So I do have
Let me let Ms. Jones, because she was going to speak.
I want to ask Aaron if we can opt out of text.gov at all. Is there any out clause?
I would have to pull the contract.
Yeah, because that would make a big difference if so.
I don't know that there is.
I would want to look at it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get it to you.
I appreciate it. That would be good. Because if so, that would make a big difference. The other thing is, I think I heard Mr. Barber, and if I didn't hear this right, help me. I heard you say 5,000 here, 5,000 here, 5,000 here in different departments. So I heard maybe 20 to 25,000. What about the rest of it?
5 to 6, and it was going to be across, I think, 8 or 9 departments.
8 or 9, not
so
just
you've
4 or
got
5.
parks, facilities, roads, fiber, gas, collections, wastewater, water, and power. So 9 departments. And professional services. I think that was the conversation when Jonathan and Mike did their sections of the budgets. When I looked at our budgets for the other divisions, that's, Mike, correct me if I was wrong, but that was what we had put in as the plan. So it was a collaborative effort.
And you said it works interchangeably with Edmunds?
We've spoken to them. They have other systems, I believe, that actually have Edmunds. They have other cities that have Edmunds. And so basically the data that they can collect can be inputted directly into our account information and help with the work order. So it's not a 2-step. It reduces it to the same step we have during the day with the same information, but it actually gives us the component of having all the pieces of information to be used later.
So, just curious, if we knew that this was going to be coming, this is the first I've seen of this. If we knew it was coming, why wasn't it pinpointed in the budget coming out of each department?
Is that a question
Mr. Barber.
you want me to answer?
Yes,
okay.
that's a question.
So, I've said at all the budget hearings, we ask you guys if any line item that you're curious about for increases, decreases. We to be honest with you, there's so many line items in 9-10 budgets, it's almost impossible to not sit here till 3 or 4 in the morning as opposed to 11 or 12 at night. It wasn't intentional, I can tell you that. These are meetings that we didn't know what it looked like, and we were still developing this as of Sue was introduced into it, I believe a month ago. So, and it was just trying to understand what the contract looks like, and the staff was trying to vet other cities that had this. We were trying to vet with FMPA whether or not they were really happy with the systems who'd already signed up. So we were just trying to do our due diligence. We put it in the budget merely as in case, so that you guys weren't faced with, well, now you're asking us for more money. And if you decide not to do it, it's money that we save, or in an emergency we have to rely on for other things. But we built it in there, and we didn't mention it because we didn't know if it was going to be something that we were going to pursue specifically. But I hope that answers your question.
So I do have a question for you. So in your cities, it has where residents can go take pictures of down power lines, this and that. I look at that as a safety aspect. We live in a society where people just love to go out and take pictures, and with the kids of today. What if it's a live power line and that person gets close or steps on it going to get a picture and gets electrocuted?
If you'll come back. Thank you.
There's a disclaimer on that. Different customers will have different wording specifically, but the call taker will say that initially. If there is indication of a live power line, the call taker doesn't have to say, hey, we're going to send you this thing. right? They won't even send it in the first place. But if the customer does get a link, there's a disclaimer on that that says if there's a live wire or etc., do not approach. If they do take pictures from far away or at all.
But people might take pictures first before they contact.
I mean, it's not prompting them to take a photo before that. So, yeah, if they're taking it beforehand, then they could be doing that now too.
Probably are.
Yeah.
Not those people.
Right. Yeah. But as soon as they're prompted to take a photo, that disclaimer is there, and the call taker will be.
Thank you. So I would suggest that maybe we table this until
I can review the TextMyGov contract. Yeah. Sounds like that's maybe a big piece, and then I can bring you back an update on that at the next meeting.
How much we pay for it.
Absolutely. We can bring that back.
And I would love to see a breakdown if we take out the if we can't get out of the TextMyGov contract, if we take out the notification. And also, you mentioned that FMPA had negotiated a discounted rate with Doppler. And so my question is how...
Believe it or not.
With that.
That is the discount.
Right, no, but my question is how long does that discount apply? Like, is that over for the first year, first 5 years, first 10 years? For the lifespan of the contract, obviously, there'd be increases over time.
So FMPA negotiated a discount for a pilot program. The contract we have now is for a 5-year contract. So if we want to change that, we can. The 5-year contract applies a 20% discount. That'll be for any longer contract. The FMPA pilot would be $4,900 for what we had scoped out.
4,900 for 6 months.
Yep. So that would include 24/7 answering. The FMPA pilot basically covers pretty much everything we have to offer. And so you get full access to the system, 24/7 call taking, full RMS for 6 months, and then from there you decide what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep.
And then you pay an additional $49,000 or $55,000 for the year.
If you wanted to go forward with all this functionality. If we were to Doppler Notify, for example, is the one module we have that overlaps with TextMyGov. So if you were to take out that, say you can't get out of the TextMyGov contract and you wanted to stay with TextMyGov, take out Doppler Notify, that would subtract, sorry, I thought the proposal was on here, I have it on my phone, but it would subtract $10K annually.
So we're looking at approximately $100,000 for a year and a half of service.
For the year and a half, it would be $5K plus if you were not doing Notify, $40K, so it'd be $45K for the year and a half.
So it was $4,500, not
just
40.
under $5K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the pilot. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was that's a
the
lot of money.
pilots for how long?
For 6 months.
For 6 months.
Yeah.
So we'd still be. Then what would we pay after the pilot?
Again, it would just depend on the functionality you move forward with. If you wanted the functionality we talked about with the RMS, say you didn't go with Notify and Spillover, it would be around $40K for the year.
So then we'd go from $5K. We would jump up to
50 to 55.
We have that for the rest of that year.
I know. I was waiting on him to finish. Yes, sir.
The TextMyGov is right at $5,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
We just got the bill for the renewal.
Oh, you're so good. Okay. Thanks.
I mean, I think it's just right at it. It's might be $48.99 or $49.88 or something, but it's right at $5,000.
Okay. I think we should table.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the math is basically ballpark $50,000 per year, 1,800 residences, homes, $30 a year per customer.
Okay. So I need a motion and a vote, so that we can table this. Have the Kiersten to take a look at the contracts, and Donald, Mr. Barber, is going to take a look at some other companies that may, and bring that all back to us. Do you think you'll be able to do that within 2 weeks? Or
if I could,
if there are any more.
yeah, if I could have 2 meetings, so a month, I could bring you guys back a full report of what we found.
Absolutely.
And let you know what their price structure looks like and what services they offer.
Okay, thank you.
Because this was just a presentation with that direction, I don't need it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, so I'm going to relinquish my control at this time to the Vice President. You're going to take control. You're going to do the presentation. That's what she told me. I'm relinquishing my control because I can't, because you're getting ready to do something with me and I can't be a part of it. You don't have it. Listen, I'm doing what my clerk told me to do. Yes, Kiersten. Never done that before. Okay.
When the president is voting on something for themselves as to an appointment to a board, you typically have the gavel pass, just for procedural purposes.
We've done 3.
Never done it before.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Vice President, this is Resolution 2025-119, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Darfeness Hinds to the City of Williston Police Officers Pension Plan and Trust Board for a period of 2 years, for a term beginning October 21st, 2025, and ending October 20th, 2027, and providing an effective date.
Sergeant O'Hara's going to speak. Okay, never mind.
Go ahead, Miss Debra. That's Debra. Why are you looking at me?
Okay. On the resolution that Kiersten presented to the board, is appointing Darfeness Hinds to the Police Pension 185 board, with terms starting on October 21st, 2025, and ending on October 20th, 2027.
Move approval of Resolution 2025-119.
I second.
All right, we have a first, we got a second. We got any discussion? Seeing none, we move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 4-0. Oh, 5-0, sorry.
4-0.
Oh, that's right. 4-0.
So tell me, just because I'm crazy, why does she have to abstain? She has no financial gain.
It's because she's got a personal vested interest. Just because she will gain a position of authority, power, voting rights in an organization. It's equivalent to the financial gain, conflict of interest.
It doesn't count when you're on the general pension board. You know how many times I've been appointed to the general pension board and we've never just done that. That's why I'm confused.
Okay, I can only speak to what's happening now. I don't recall the specific situation that you're referring to.
If we have another pension board.
Yeah, no, I'm more.
And I sit on it. And I've been appointed by this board. So I've been on it for years.
Which is what we just did.
Including when I was president, and we never did that. I'm just. Oh yeah. It sort of is. I just don't understand why we did it. Okay.
All right. Okay. Item D. Resolution 2025-120. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Matthew Fortney to the City of Williston Police Officers Pension Plan and Trust Board for a period of 2 years, for a term beginning October 21st, 2025, and ending October 20th, 2027, and providing an effective date. Councilmember Debra Jones.
I gotta have my name down here.
Miss Latricia, go ahead.
I had put you down, Ms. Deborah, because you are on the General Pension Board, and you normally explain it a lot better than I do about the pension 185.
Okay. The 185 Pension Board, Sergeant O'Hara may do better than me. They have 5 positions, 2 of whom are appointed by the police department and are police officers. They can live in or out of the city limits. We appoint 2 people as a city. They have to live in the city limits. A 5th person is appointed by those 4 people, and they don't have to live in the city limits. They can, but they don't have to. And Captain Fortney was on the pension board, but because he went into the drop plan, he can no longer serve in the capacity he was serving in as a police officer because he's in the drop plan. So I am asking that we appoint him as one of the 2 Williston appointees, meaning ours, because we have a vacancy on our side, to serve as in the capacity for the Williston residential seat.
I make a motion we approve Resolution 2025-120.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the public? Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, we move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
I will also add that the 185 pension board was down to 2 people on their board. Ms. Hinds took one of those seats. Captain Fortney will now have one of ours. And the other one that is vacant is the one that they appoint together. So they will decide who the 5th person is. And they'll notify us.
Okay, thank you. All right, Resolution 2025-121, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the Passero Associates Supplemental Agreement 25-29 regarding the design runway 5-23 lighting and signage rehabilitation project, authorizing appropriate parties to sign and document any documents required to execute same on behalf of the City of Williston and providing an effective date. Attorney Kiersten.
I guess I'll hand it off to Benton. Happy to answer any legal questions about it.
Yes, ma'am. So this is the pass-through work order for the planning and development phase of the runway lighting project for 523. Basically taking the runway lighting system from a halogen system to a LED system, which should save us a little bit in electricity and utilities, and hopefully take down some of the maintenance costs. As you know, the halogen system is a pretty labor-intensive system. We replace about 15 to 20 bulbs a year to the tune of about $30 per bulb. They're only about that big. So the LED system would probably be great. And this is only the design phase for it. Based on what Mr. Singletary told us last meeting, there is a cost associated with this one for the airport. It's only going to be about $1,100 for the city's share in the FAA and FDOT split. Passero and Ms. Sue and I are working diligently to resolve that and hopefully get the ready waivers back so that we don't have to continue to pay into it, because if it comes down to it next year, it'll be a little bit more costly for us. But thankfully, Passero is really good at what they do, and they've managed to find some state and federal grants to offset the cost considerably for us. So our intent is to still proceed forward with the construction once the time comes, regardless of the status of the ready waivers, because it will still be well within something that the airport fund can tolerate. But ideally, we would get the ready waiver back, and then it would be money that we don't have to shell out for that.
So this will, all this will be coming out of the airport budget?
Only about $1,200 will be coming out of the airport budget.
Okay. And
So
the rest will be
state and federal funding.
awesome.
Yeah, I believe there's a breakdown included. If it's not, I can send it to you all. But it's basically 95% FAA, 4% FDOT, and 1% City of Williston.
So are the 11,000 we're paying 11? Okay, that's what I'm like. That's not what I thought. Okay, but okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-131.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the public? Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, so now we're going to do Resolution 2025-122, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the restarting of the agreement to prepare the study to develop impact fees with Wright peers, authorize the appropriate parties to execute such agreements on behalf of the City of Williston and providing an effective date. City Manager Sue Beaudet and Walt.
I'll just give a brief update before Walt gets up, but so this is something that the staff has asked me to work on, is getting these impact fees for the police and the parks department back in place. And you guys had passed a resolution, I believe it was January of last year, to get this started. And then a state statute came around and said, well, if you don't have these impact fees put into place within a year, you have to kind of start the ball all over. So that's where we're at, is we're starting the ball all over.
Walt Nick with Wright Pierce. We're not starting the work over. We've collected the data, got all the information. It's just, this is a formality. If you reauthorize us with today's date, basically, that starts the clock for a year. We are planning in the next 4 months to just bring this to you, the impact fees study that then gives you, turn in 4 months, you've got all that time to debate, to analyze and go forward with this or not. So basically start the clock. You would have a year before you would have to, if you choose to accept them and implement them, you have them. So it's really formality. It's no change in our scope, no change in our fee. Just kind of let's officially restart this. A little bit ambiguous in the state statute when that clock starts. This way there's no way we'll have this date end here. So in about 4 months we'll come back to you with the completed impact fee analysis and results. Then you have that additional time to discuss it.
So with the analysis and results, you're going to give us a amount that impact fees should be?
That it can be what you report.
Okay. Ms. Carver.
I just want to also add that fire was included as a secondary proposal, and they are also been studied out, and that's already all been paid for as well. So that's police, fire, parks. Walt, was there a component for roads? No, there was not a component, but it was the other three.
Have you are you up to date on any policies that are trying to be passed at this time related to impact fees?
I'm not aware of it. We are using a specialty firm called Raptellis, that they are the experts in this. They are really moving forward with this work. They were the ones who informed us about the new state statute and time frame. So I can't speak as an expert on this. That's what we brought in Raptellis. They're helping us with that. But I'm not aware of any. They've committed to moving get this done in the next 4 months. So I'm not aware of anything that will change. Out there.
Yeah, there is development of that. I don't believe it was in my committee, but another one that I actually have a summary of. Remember the page I said I need to give you that talks about impact fees, and if they're kind of frozen at a certain period of time, and if you've got them, you can't raise them, and I think if you don't have them, you can't add them. But I'll have to. I have this. It's a bill. It hasn't passed yet.
Okay.
It's just a bill.
And also, if you set an impact fee, then part of that is you can only do it over 4 years. You have to do it over 4 years. You can't do it like all in one. You have to percentage over 4 years before the full amount can be.
I'll find that. Give it to Miss Sue.
Okay. You can do that. Rep Bills, I would be quite sure is fully aware of that, but I'll pass that on.
Okay. Also, I wanted to ask if who's going to pay this impact fee? Is it for new development only, or is it for all residents?
No, it's for new.
Thank you, Lord.
Something comes in, a new development, that added cost that they are.
Perfect.
That's why you can't do one for stormwater.
Right.
New development should be taken care of that themselves. Right. Impacts of other development.
I thought that was the case. I just wanted it on record.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Yes.
So, also, I'm just curious if, in the process of doing this analysis, if they're taking into consideration the fact that there is pressure from our current governor to do away with property taxes and how that will impact also budgets for police, roads and parks, and fire. Thank you. And if that is, if the projected effect of not having property taxes is calculated into our future impact fees.
I will convey that.
I just want to say, totally different subject, but I would like to also go back and look at regular impact fees for development. What like we used to have, but we did away with. Right. Yeah, we already have capacity fees, but impact fees on new development.
That's what this is, Ms. Jones.
Right. I thought you did away with them sometime in the past. That
We
was
did.
my understanding, right? So these are brand new, starting from scratch. There's nothing in place.
And we could pull the old ordinance.
You just like to look at like what we were charging for all these things last time.
Well, it would be way different, I'm sure.
I would imagine, yeah.
But we don't collect anything now from somebody who's coming in here and building a whole subdivision, a whole development of any kind. And our residents are picking up the tab. So if we can get an impact fee, the people that come are the ones going to do it instead.
Yeah, so that's exactly what this is. Impact fees you can't charge to anyone other than new development. It's just new developers that would be subject to impact fees.
Perfect. And I think we also need to be sure that whatever that amount is, since we've had a delay, we've had some time without having any impact fees, if that's going to affect the impact fees that you get. Because I believe they said something as well about not being able to raise it above a certain amount.
There are right now guidelines that they have to fall in percentages, so that you're limited to minimum max. There's safety rails in there, so you just can't do that. And that's all part of the statute.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
I make a motion we approve resolution 2025-122.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the public or the council? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
A Walt, on the last page of the agreement, just want to make a modification to the name. It says Darfeness, H-I-N. Just make sure it says H-I-N.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so it does.
All right. So, Resolution 2025-123, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the transfer of funds from Utility Department to the Williston Community Redevelopment Agency for the Williston Downtown Parking Lot Block 12 project, authorizing appropriate parties to execute such transfer of funds on behalf of the City of Williston and approving an effective date. City Manager Sue Beaudet and Walt.
I'm going to defer entirely to Walt for this one.
So as you're aware, the Block 12 parking lot project is going in the city-owned parking lot that's being funded by the city of project the city is always going to, we're doing the underground field, new power coming in underground. From that point, we're going to connect from just outside the building into the building. With those, the intent that the city's crews is going to do that connection. So from called like pedestals into they were going to do most of that work. They were not licensed, in the state to do all of it, to take it from the meter and into the panel. You had to have a state licensed contractor to do that. They were always going to hire that out. That component of it. So rather than the utilities department going out and hiring somebody to do that, we approached the contractor who's doing the work, and their electrical sub can do that work, the state license, and then they can do it all. So they're doing work that the city was going to do, and we're going to put that on that money. But since the city was going to do it, we're asking the city to pay for it. It would have been your cost anyway, and then that would be reimbursed to the CRA. It's a change order to the project. You don't have to rebid it or anything. It's just part of the city would have to go out and they're going to do it separately, do another bid, and that would be $9,600. So this is one of the most efficient ways to do that component of work. So that's this is. And the city gets the revenue and power. So CRA doesn't get that, but all this stuff is set done. The power of the revenue is the city revenue.
This is the $69,843.
Change order to the contractor.
So question?
And this is currently within budget, Mr. Barber?
So no, ma'am, this is an unplanned cost.
Okay.
The good news is earlier this evening you received a presentation where we received $100,000. Now that money is specific to, as Mr. Robert Graves mentioned, the salary for one entire year of the locator, which we put in our budget. So that big portion of it is in the budget. And then the other part is, of course, for educational commercials, things of that nature. So I was looking at the budget, and Stephen could chime in. But if you look at all in for the benefits and everything for our 811 locator, it is a very significant portion of the $69,000 that the city does not have to pay that was currently budgeted. So he's welcome to chime in, but that's where, when Mike and I talked about this, we had said that was kind of a blessing in disguise because this is a one-time cost and that's a one-time grant. So, it's up to the council what they want to do, but Walt's correct. I mean, this really is a city-owned parking lot, and it's benefiting the city's revenue through the electric department. So that was the thought. And the CRA also, just to remind everybody, is doing a few other projects that have really benefiting the city that Mr. McMillan mentioned earlier tonight as well.
Additional sidewalk project First Street, the manhole station, a few other things that they've added to the project.
Mr. Cox.
Mr. Bloom, you on board?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, so how will this impact by coming out of the utilities? Is it going to hurt us?
So, well, if with that grant, again, I'll have to make sure I tie out all these numbers with Mr. Barber, but the locator position for the year was budgeted about $54,000. So if that's the position that we're talking about, and that's going to be 100% covered with the grant, and then it was $100,000. I guess I didn't know what the rest of that grant was covering, if there's anything else within the city's budget. But if we could basically, we'd basically be down to what's about $70,000, about $15,000 to $17,000. And if that's the case, I think between myself and Mr. Barber, we can find that money. So again, for the council's perspective on this question and anything throughout the year, what we're saying is we're not going to touch reserves, but we have no problem if we move around our current budget as long as we stay within budget. So in this scenario, we are going to be bringing in more revenue, grant revenue, and then therefore it's going to cover some of our costs. Therefore, we are really reallocating that $54,000 to this particular project. And again, we still have roughly about $15,000 to $17,000. But at that amount, I believe we can find it. We can make it work.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Excellent news. Mike, did you have anything you want to add?
Can I get a motion?
Move the approval of resolution 2025-123.
I have a question for Mike. Sorry, just a quick question for Mike. My question for you is because we are.
There we go. Okay.
Thanks.
We have a motion.
Sorry. Because we are passing on the labor to. I mean, is there cost savings in that as well that our employees are then redirected to other projects? I'll make sure that would be an excellent point. Cool, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in we have a first and a second. Yeah, motion and second. Move to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, discussion with possible action renaming of one reserve position to a part-time animal control position. Chief Micro or Chief?
You got Sergeant O'Hara today.
Sergeant O'Hara.
Okay, so this is, as you know, we took over animal control and code enforcement. Christy is doing a good job thus far, but she's going to need a little bit of help. I'm also in charge of of that as well. I'm her supervisor along with other stuff I do. But having said that, I'll say this: I'm in charge of the reserve unit as well. So we have 5 reserve positions at this time. 2 are being filled, or are also already being filled. At least 3 that are open at the moment. We do have applicants, but we want to take one of those reserve positions because we do pay our reserves. And move it over to the animal control and code enforcement area so that we can hire a part-time person to come and assist Christy when she's needed on her vacations or she goes to school, like she's in school all this week. So things like that would help us to help her. And also the bigger picture would be as well is to save a little bit of money as well, because the money's already budgeted for the reserve position at the police department. We can just move that over to that position and save not just the police department's budget money, but also the entire city as well. So I think it's a good move for us to look at that.
How much is the reserve position?
It's a $15 an hour. Yeah. And this would be the part-time
and
position.
And is that what we're looking to pay for the part-time position as well?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Do I understand correctly, too, that with the cameras now over by the high school, that you have less of a need for the reserve officers to be stationed there during school hours? Or?
No, we don't use use them. We have Rev, and Rev is over there. That's a different budget.
Different budget.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Can I get a motion? Well, discussion. I don't really need a motion, or do I?
If you want to take action on it, you would need a motion.
Do we want to take action on it?
I move that we rename the reserve position and move it to as a part-time animal control position and pay them minimum wage of $15.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the public or council? Seeing none, move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Discussion with possible action, combine the planning assistant position and permit tech position together. City Manager Beaudet.
All right. So as you know, we recently promoted BJ Bishop from the permit tech position to the animal shelter manager position. She's doing a great job over there. Our problem is we have posted this permit tech position both internally and externally, and we are not getting any applicants. It also pays $15 and change per hour, and we just really don't have anybody to do this position right now. BJ has been working with Nikki over the past couple of weeks. I believe Nikki had this position originally, if I'm not mistaken, with the city, and so she feels as though she can do this work. I would like to give her some sort of a salary increase to take on this additional work. It would save the city roughly $40,000 to $45,000 to not have this position and the benefits associated with it. So I would definitely like to give her some additional money to take it on. I'm not saying that we may not need it in the future. You know, if we get a big development here, obviously we may come back to you and ask to reopen it again. But as it is right now, we really don't have another option. We need to do something, and I would like to, recognize and give Nikki the position. Like I said, she's willing to do the work, but I do think she deserves some additional pay to. That's my thought. What are your thoughts?
How much are you looking to increase her pay?
Did you talk to her about it?
I did. Currently she is making, we gave her a 10% increase for the interim, so she's filling the position at $22 an hour, and maybe adding $4 onto that, but, I mean, you're still saving $10 an hour for the permit tech, and she's doing 2 jobs, and plus part of her other, with the planning assistant, 50% of that is covered with the CRA. So, I didn't necessarily talk to her about the raise before Sue and I came up with this idea. I had talked to Nikki about it, and she said she's the intern regardless when we don't have a permit tech. So, but she said she can handle both.
So my question is going to be, in the event that you eventually hire somebody, she's going to be still sitting at that increased wage. So now you're going to have that increased wage on top of whatever you're going to pay that permit tech. So that's not. Why y'all looking like that?
No, we're talking about eliminating the permit tech position altogether, unless, like I said, something happens in the future and we get this, 500 house development or something, that something changes drastically. But no, we would be basically eliminating the planning tech and just combining those roles with Nikki's current roles as the planning system.
So why $4?
It sounds like it's already more than that. They've already given her some.
Well, yeah, that's true. If she's the interim already, then she's already at 22. Why is that not?
She's gotten
enough?
10%. I would still say I would like to give her something in addition to that. Or it's just a thought.
I mean, I'm a component of sometimes we have to do extra work in order to make things run. And if she's already getting more money than what she normally would have gotten because she's interim, then just make her permanent at the same amount instead of giving her an additional fee. I think that's where we run into a lot of problems within the city when people are doing things and then we want to continue to give additional money on top of money. Yes.
So the HR manual requires us to give her that 10% for filling in. But her taking it on part-time, full-time, the additional duties, because that was only for a temporary spot. And if she's going to completely take it over and get the she's looking at getting the certification as well. So her additional duties adding on, because again, her 50% of her current planning assistant comes out of the CRA. They pay for that. And we're still saving, even with a $4 raise, you're still saving almost $12 an hour on a person.
So how much is she getting paid without the permit tech?
Without the permit tech?
Without the interim paid up 10% that you guys...
$20.96 with the
$20.90, and 10 of that is coming from the CRA, so the city really is paying $10 an hour. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm okay with a couple of dollars.
She said 4. She didn't say a couple.
Well, I know, but I'm okay with a couple, not 4. What I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 concerns.
Okay.
my first concern is that the CRA, they're capped. They're just, the CRA is disappearing at a certain point. So I just think we need to keep that in mind, that the city will, in fact, have to take on the full salary of planning and zoning district in our minds. Do that. And my other concern is that we ran into trouble with Laura taking on wearing too many hats and getting overwhelmed, and it caused, an issue. And she ended up leaving. And I just want to make sure we don't go down that rabbit hole again, even though Nikki obviously is very willing. Laura was also, and I'm just concerned about setting up that same practice going forward. I appreciate that there is initial savings, but my concern is that we end up in a situation where somebody's overworked. And then, do we take, to your point, Darfeness, like if we do have to hire a permit tech in the future, then what happens to Nikki's salary? Does that, or her hourly wage, does that get removed from that? And then, I just hate to do that to somebody without at least having that expectation set into the agreement that if we do bump her salary up, the understanding that if when the time comes and we do hire a permit tech full time, that she understands that that pay has to be redirected to that permit tech, and that she, I guess we can keep her at that point, but can we, from a budgetary perspective?
Right. And I just too, because we've just done the budget and we've just done raises. We did a 3% raise and now a 10% raise because she's got the interim position. So that's 13% right there. But I still see the value of a couple of extra dollars, with the understanding that she knows it may have to be redirected if something big comes along. Because we don't want to burn her out. I mean, Laura was pulled in so many different directions by different hats altogether, between animal control and shelter. I don't think Nikki will let herself get to that point. She can do it. She can handle it. I think she can.
That was my concern, is just the burnout. That I didn't want to see that happen to her.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to talk to her today to see how she felt.
I think we slowed down a lot. I mean, I know we're still very busy with different things, not whole subdivisions, but we're still busy with a lot going on. And people that are remodeling and rebuilding, structures that are already here. I mean, everything from a roof to a fence. I mean, she's handling it all. But I do believe a couple of dollars would be fine.
So I'll give you an anecdote just to kind of put it in perspective. Because the only other option is then we have to increase the salary from trying to get somebody in here. So my utility clerk in the town of Bronson was making $15 to $16 an hour. She ended up getting her permit tech license and moved to Winter Springs, and they offered her a position at $25 an hour as just a permit tech. All she does. So to ask somebody to be the planning assistant and the permit tech, granted Winter Springs is much bigger than Williston, I understand that, but permit techs now are going for $20 to $25 an hour, just the permit tech alone. So personally, I feel like we should bump her to 25. That's my personal opinion. Of course, it's entirely up to you, but I just think that that's the right thing to do because, again, we are saving a lot of money by not having this other position.
We're saving a lot of money because we're only paying $15 or $12 an hour. I mean, $12 an hour now until other things happen. Now we have the full fund of it.
Also saving on the benefits. That's a lot. And all the retirement. So that's good for a lot too. So.
But and I agree. I don't want to shortchange Nikki because I know it's a lot of work. I would love for there to be, and again, not necessarily in this situation, but future forward, there's some calculus that we have that, when we combine two positions so that it doesn't feel arbitrary. What concerns me is that we're sort of making an arbitrary decision about Nikki's value as an employee who does both these jobs, and then maybe this situation presents itself down the road with another job where we're combining two jobs, and it's like, $2 or $4, and I feel like it would be, I would be a lot more comfortable making a decision if there was a finite in the employee handbook, like of two positions, that there's, it's 15% of this position for X number of time, so that we're not I just don't feel it's appropriate that we're making an arbitrary, $2 an hour, $4 an hour, $6 an hour decision without any calculus behind how we arrived at that number. I just don't feel like it's fair from employee to employee for that to be as arbitrary as it is.
And I don't feel like every collateral duty that somebody's given should be met with money as well. If it turns out to be a long-term thing, then okay, then yeah, we should be looking at money at that point. Had she not gotten the 10% ahead, which I knew nothing about, but had she not gotten, I'm just saying, had she not gotten the 10% at the interim, then, it would be a lot easier to give the raise for. But it's like you're paying twice for the same.
To make it a little less arbitrary, I mean, we could look at the 10%, which is what somebody gets when they're filling in for somebody else. And then I believe in the handbook, if we hire somebody that has experience, we can give them an additional 15%. So that would be a max of, say, 25% of what she's making now, which again puts her in this 25 and change.
And this is also the 4th time that she's filled in as the interim since she's been here.
I'm comfortable with what Sue just presented.
Question.
So are we going to have to then pay her for her licensure as well? For getting the licensure? So now we're not just looking at $25, we're just looking at more.
It is a certification.
Correct. Yes. So instead of giving her, if you want her to be at $25, then we bump her up to 24, 23, or whatever it is, and then when she gets her certification, she'll still get 25 that you want her to get.
I would think that'd be fair.
I'm good
24
with
and
the $2, which is 24.
Yeah. And then when she gets her license, bump her the other $1. I think that would be fair.
And make it permanent. Yeah.
So is that the route that we're going, is to make it, basically we're just going to combine the two positions, make it permanent, and everything. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And if we agreed that if we have to separate the two positions, the additional amount that she is making as permit tech will be decreased from, which I hate to do.
Make sure she knows that.
But I know that we've had another employee in that situation that,
I know the
because it's not fair.
University of Florida does that. If you're making $25 an hour, you're like, okay, this position over here, I'm going to go for that one. And let's say it's paying 22. When if they take that position, they're now down to 22. They're not at that because they have pay grades, and they have to stay within those pay grades.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
With that, addressing your concerns of taking her back, as long as in the PAF I put interim in there, it doesn't, the HR manual addresses that if we do have to reopen that position up, they do go back down to the original pay.
and I know we're also working on creating the pay ranges as well. I just know they're not there yet. So.
Yes, I got to add in all the job descriptions and make sure they're updated. I know supposedly they were updated last year, but on the documents, when it says revision dates from the file that Debra told me to find, they're from 2023 and 21, so I don't know if they were really updated, so it's a work in progress.
Also, please make sure that in the event we hire somebody else, that when she drops, that we don't take her dollar away or whatever it is for her certification.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to leave her at an interim.
Yeah, and
it also to be able to do that.
Yeah, also with leaving her as an interim, we don't necessarily. So if we want to open that position back up, that position will stay open. So you don't have to eliminate that position and then we come back. We just remove the interim and then we advertise for the permanent tech. And it'll just be, there will be just no end date on her interim.
And then, too, there's no set time for her to complete the certification. So
No, sir.
it could be 2 years.
Right.
All right. Any other questions or discussions? Can I get a motion?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you draw it this time.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the combining of the planning assistant position and the permit tech position together as an interim position with the approved pay increase up to 10% plus an additional $2 per hour plus, if and when she gets her certification, the additional $1 per hour.
Perfect.
Stop there.
Perfect. Second motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, Meredith. Was that $2? 10% plus $2. Okay.
10% that she already had, plus $2 more.
Any further questions from anyone? No comments from the council. I move to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
I'm sorry, who's second?
You scared me for a second. I'm like, I know, I heard something. Okay.
It was me. I told her it was perfect and I seconded it.
All right, Resolution 2025-124, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving extension of the interlocal agreement for the school crossing guards for the 2025-2026 school year and providing an effective date. City Manager? Oh, Kiersten, Ballou, attorney.
This is one of the shorter agreements that you'll ever see come before you. Obviously not terribly long. As you know, we've been working with the Levy County School Board for a long time regarding crossing guards, and this is just an update to our contract regarding minimum wage. So happy to answer any questions, but
I will say that it says minimum wage, but we pay him more than that. That's just a point of clarification. If you look at your staffing plan, we always see that. Yep. And then we just supplement it. He's been here so long. I just want to make that point. And I will make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the public or the council? Seeing none, I move to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. At this time, this is the second opportunity for public participation. You have 5 minutes to speak on anything that was not discussed on the agenda. Please state your name or where you're from. Seeing none, we will move forward to. Sorry, did I go too fast?
No, just asking.
Okay.
Look at Mr. Lang.
See, I know I looked at him too. See,
I started saying he.
Okay.
I started hating he stayed here this long. He
I saw him too.
Robert Lang, 500 Northwest 5th Avenue here in Williston. I understand there is negotiations going on with Lennar. I won't say Lennar because everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else knows me as Lennar on the lighting. What about we also need to address all the punch lists? We got holes in the blacktop. We've got severely damaged blacktop from motor oil leaks. I don't know whether that's the city, whether it's ours or what. Those are some of the things we need to chase down. And we haven't had a power outage in a while, so I don't really know, but for quite a while, and I talked to Don about this. Our power would go out on the circle I'm in. The outside perimeter would still have power. I mean, for a while. I mean, I put a generator in, so it doesn't bother me now. But that needs to be addressed also before we get Lennar out of there. And we've also got a sidewalk issue where they ran the sidewalk down. In some places, as storm drain, swelled the sidewalk down to where it runs out into the storm drain. There's one place there, and I can't remember the name of the street right now. I walk them, I don't know. But I can see dirt between the sidewalk and the storm drain. If I step off of there, about a 6 or 7 inch step off. They'll feel an ankle, they'll break an ankle. And I know you all haven't accepted it yet. And when I said something to Lennar about it, well, we'll just put a handrail in it. No, we're not going to be drilling holes in a brand new sidewalk. So that's something else. And I got to fix on that. And I have since found a couple more like that. Not near that bad, but they are ankle butts.
I don't know anything about a punch list. Whose punch list is it? Is it ours?
It is.
Yes, ma'am. So to answer the question, Kiersten, I know, has reached out to Armstrong, who the developer agreement is with, just to clarify that. And we have sent them that punch list, and I can give it to Miss Latricia, and she can forward it to the council. It already has marked out everything that's been done, everything that's not been done, what the status of everything is. Wright Pierce runs that punch list with staff, and so we've kept that updated. That is the reason why we have not, one of the reasons, we have not adopted the roads and the sidewalks and, all that stuff. The other thing to consider is that we still have an outstanding agreement that they verbally contracted to. If you all remember, the placement of the water and sewer was not vetted, shall we say, in the best sense. And the geotech that was submitted turned out not to be, how do I say this diplomatically, as truthful as it could have been. And so what we did is we asked them, and they committed verbally to the staff, to our attorney, that they would give us an additional 5 years to the 1-year warranty after the turnover point. We've submitted that a long time ago, and they keep passing it back and forth, and Kiersten can answer to that more.
So a couple of things on CLE, the gift that keeps on giving. So the most recent correspondence we have from Armstrong, they indicated, so we have pretty regular meetings with them. I believe Walt meets with them maybe every 2 weeks, pretty often to run this down and keep on these projects. So to the best of my knowledge, they're not just ruminating on the same things. Otherwise, I imagine that Walt would reach out and say, hey, I've talked about the same 4 things and nothing's been done. We can get an update from Walt, I'm sure, on what those meetings and the specifics of that. As far as the agreement, to Donald's point, we have very specific requirements in our developers agreement as well as in our code regarding how infrastructure is supposed to be placed. It was not placed in the manner which we require. They were given 2 options: pull all of it out and do it again, or provide us with this extended warranty. At the meeting before last meeting I had with them, they said, no problem, send it over to us. We just didn't get a copy of it. Now they're saying that really it's the subcontractor West to West who made us that promise and who did all of those things. So now I'm currently in discussions with them regarding they are responsible for West to West actions, and they will either sign it themselves or they will take it back up.
The other issue holding it up is the streetlight situation, and that's been addressed to the council before. And just to allay your fears there, the staff has submitted to both the HOA, to the 3 parties, the HOA, Artemis, which represents, they're the legal entity representing the HOA, and also to Armstrong. And we've given them all the plans that were approved. They paid for a study for the power through Patterson-Dewar, and they actually wrote the check to the city because they purchased that service for engineering on the electrical through the city as part of their developers agreement, allowed them to do. And they show clearly on the plans the streetlights. So they were previously denying that there were streetlights. We've sent them those plans. We've given large copies to the HOA and the president of the HOA, Mr. Langston, so that he could utilize that. And so now we're just waiting for them to I think, Kiersten, you notified them that they had so much time before we would activate the bond.
Yeah, they've been notified, and I'll need to go back in my correspondence to give you an exact date, but they have been notified that they will perform the actions which we have laid out clearly for them and proven that they have an obligation to do, or we will pull their bond and we will do it for them.
Can I ask you?
Or Laura left. She approached me about us doing a Christmas decoration contest, whatever you want to do it, but subdivision. My comment to her was getting street lights because I'm not going to do it if there's nobody, we can't see where we're going. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of sidewalk down there. And if you step off that sidewk, you can sod in place, you roll an ankle. That's some of the poorest damn sod work I've seen. And I've been in construction for over 40 years.
Are those things on the punch list? Do we know?
It's private property.
The easements and anything that would have city infrastructure is on the punch list. The sidewalks, if we remember the ordinance from 1956, the sidewalks belong to the resident. So they're not on the punch list, but that is something that the city is willing to do anything we can to work with the HOA and Artemis to make sure they have the information so that they can propose that back as a negotiation.
I'll put one on the punch list then. They came back in, and also we talked about they're supposed to be handicap accessible ramps and sidewalks. They're not. Some are, most aren't. They come out and dug them up and put them in concrete between the street curb and sidewalk line, for example. And there's gaps that much, but they never put dirt back in or anything else. I pointed that out. And so there's a lot. If you really want to start looking at it, there's a lot of stuff out there that is shoddy.
So is this stuff, is this not inspected prior to completion of the subdivision?
So there's two realms that the city can operate under. One is the building inspector, and that's going to be your structure and things associated with the structure. The other thing is, and Kiersten can answer this better, but other things are having to do with our items that would be turned over to us. And again, because of the ordinance that the city currently has, sidewalks are the responsibility, unfortunately, of the residents that they're within the space of. If you all remember, we had people coming in with another development about sidewalks a few years ago. So everything that is on the punch list, that's why I wanted to send it through Latricia to all the council, because you'll see every item on there and what the status is, and it'll give you an understanding of where we're at, what we're waiting for. And if you have any further questions related to that, we could probably answer them more specifically for you.
The other thing that just to round it out, because I don't want it to sound like just because we as the city don't have actionable items against Armstrong or Lennar doesn't mean that the HOA doesn't. So in areas where our legal limits exist, pick up the HOA's legal limits.
And Artemis is your attorney.
Okay. Ask Kiersten a question. Sure. So my question is with the bond, if the city has to take the bond and do the work, is it similar to a security deposit in a rental where we basically take the money and whatever remains is returned to Lennar?
Yes.
Thanks.
I don't think it'll be anything remaining. From what I can tell, it may not be enough. Yeah, that's what I've been told.
The bond is over $2 million, so we'll be all right.
Oh, that's good.
Yes,
yeah, we require bonds of.
We'll be able to return money, I promise you.
No, well, maybe we can do some of this other stuff on the punch list.
We require that bonds be 110% of the entire project
That's
cost.
wonderful. Okay. I have no idea. That's
Thank
nice
you.
to know. I had been told earlier it wasn't enough, so that's nice to hear.
Mr. Langston,
All
do
right.
you have a date for your HOA meeting? We were waiting for that.
It's on our calendar.
Oh, sorry. I don't always
That's
see
okay.
my calendar that far in advance. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to announcements. Anyone have any announcements?
Yeah, I got one.
Mr. Barber, go ahead.
I just wanted to pass this around for the council to look at, and what you're going to see. I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to know that they can always inquire through public records, and we don't make it that complicated. So if the citizen just comes in and they want information, we'll hand it right over. You're going to see 2 work orders. One work order came in the day that the customer called it in. Then somebody called it in that evening, and so somebody was dispatched out. And then the third is the paper is going to be the locate. Any of the leaks that have been mentioned, we have these, and I can give them to any council member or any citizen. The leak that was referred to across from CVS in front of the salon in the Mexican restaurant, that leak did not leak prior to the 17th. It started leaking on the 17th. It was reported by the customer. We had that fixed Monday. So that is the 2 days between the leak being called in and the locate being done by 811, which we're not the only 811 provider with services in that area. If any time council wants any of this, or you can send it through Miss Latricia, and that's really the purpose of the videos, is not to address specifics, but procedure, is to just educate, how does that process work. When we went in and repaired that, we are already planning on shutting that line down and replacing the whole thing from the end of 5th, where it hits 27, all the way back to Epperson Park. There's a culvert that actually the water line runs through where you can actually see it. The reason why I bring this up is when we went down and repaired it on Monday, there were 17, 18 clamps on that one single 3/4 line. So they're correct that it's been leaking constantly, but we immediately go out when we're legally able, we fix it, and then when we hear about it again, we go back. What we're trying to do now is once we identify so many wraps, we're going to section out a piece of it and totally replace it with compression couplings on 2 ends, and then that section will be replaced, and hopefully then we won't have. But we can only do that for service line. I want to point that out. That's not something we can do with mains. So I just wanted to pass that out, and you can see the information and the dates right on the work orders. So.
Thank you.
How's our boiled water notice?
We're expecting samples back tomorrow, and by the end of the week, we'll have every notice put on doors. We'll utilize text.my.gov and whatnot.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. So, you have something else? Oh, you said thank you. I thought that's what you wanted to say. Go ahead.
A couple of things I noticed on the agenda in this, and I think maybe in last week, is cost associated to a project. I noticed that's not on here. So, like, for instance, discussion with the Doppler. The cost was missing as far as on that, and I think there's 1 or 2 other things. So if we could do it and where the funds come from, because that's been on stuff before. So, and then just seeing new faces around. We losing people, we just hiring some new people. I've just seen some new faces around.
Yeah, I've onboarded, yesterday I onboarded 3 different people. Yes, we are losing people. Not through we had 1 termination that you were notified about, but the rest are putting in 2-week notices.
Are we doing exit reviews?
If they come in, I tell them that, when they leave, come in and do an exit interview. Some people don't want to do it.
Question. Oh, Ms. Barbara, go ahead.
Chief Rolls just texted me, and he wanted me to let the council know that the video that was put up earlier today about the manhole, they wanted to thank the council because that was due to the drone. And he just wanted to show you some of the ways that the drone could be implemented to get information out, not just for enforcement. So he asked me to mention that.
Thank you.
Did they win the ball game?
So, can we talk about the organizational chart? Underneath, I'm trying to get out what I want to say. Hold on. Give me a second.
I know, I just need to look at it if you're going to talk about it. Where is it?
When it comes to the animal shelter and what's the other one? The permit, is the permit person who are underneath Miss Troy,
The animal
Is
shelter.
she? What is it? Just a permit?
Yes. Well, just Nikki because there's no department head for her.
Okay. And
She originally was
she's
Laura.
planning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Her original department head was Laura, so now without having Laura, she.
Okay. I thought I saw animal shelter or
Mhm.
permit or somebody else under. Okay.
Well, permitting and planning assistant, but now that we've moved them into one, we were trying to figure out the best route to take that, and I told the city manager, Sue, that since I have no employees, under me, and I'm the only department head with no employees under me, that I'd be willing to take it on and kind of learn what she sort of does so I could help her out when possible.
I was just curious. I thought that the ones that were underneath the police were underneath you. So I was just like, well, how is that working? Okay. So thank you.
And
Yes, ma'am.
and maybe this, again, let's wrap this meeting up and circle back to it if we need to. But my question is there any conflict with having employees under HR? Because then who do they go to if they have an issue with their supervisor? I don't think that's a discussion for tonight, but I think we should bring that back on the agenda.
Agree. All right. Any other the announcement I had was December 6th, 6 p.m. Christmas parade. Any other announcement?
I have one too.
What do
The
you have?
City of Lights Holiday Contest. I hope everybody saw that on Facebook. I'm very excited about it. It's done by the CRA. So registration opens on November. I can read that. It's tiny. November 5th. Closes on November 25th, and then the judging period is December 1st through the 24th.
There's your Christmas judging decoration.
Very excited about that.
All right. If there are no more, are there any more announcements? If there are, Kiersten, did you have an announcement? She did not.
I didn't. I will re-announce ethics presentation December 4th. I believe that Scott indicated that at the previous meeting, the meeting that he covered for you all. So December 4th, ethics training.
Thank you.
Legislative.
Can we switch to a different day?
That's a legislative conference.
Yeah, we'll be the 4th and the 5th.
I mean, half of our legislative.
Can we switch it to a different day?
Well,
Like
I
the
do
next
not
week?
know the answer to that
Can you
question.
please find out for us?
When does it? It may. I'm not 100% sure. We've announced it. Haven't heard yet from anyone. That doesn't mean that it's not a conflict. Just means no one's flagged it yet. We can take a look at that. When are people starting to leave for their holidays?
I leave after Christmas.
I'm not going anywhere.
I take the week after Christmas.
So maybe like the next week.
The problem with the next week is that there are city meetings basically every single week that people are still holding. So that was like the one. We try to hold it on a night when everyone's able to come.
Right.
Because you don't have a meeting. Let me circle back with you.
Okay.
Let me see if I can figure something else out.
All right. Thank you. All right, adjournment. Got a motion. Got a second. No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. Oh, I mean, not nay. No, I'm so ready. I apologize. So, motion passes 5-0. Oh my gosh.